Hey, what's up traders? Hope you're doing well. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to install RealTest. So first of all, what is RealTest? If you haven't seen my recent videos and email newsletters about RealTest, go and check them out. But basically, it is a multi-strategy, portfolio level backtesting software. So let me break this down. Multi-strategy means that it can backtest multiple systems in a single backtest. So you can mix and match systems together like you would in a recipe, for example. It's probably a bad example, but you could have a long only system and a short only system. You could have a system that's a mean reversion system and a system that is a trend following or momentum system. You could even have two systems trading different time frames, so a daily chart, a weekly chart, and you could merge them together. You could even have systems that trade different markets, so the Aussie market, the Australian market, or the Canadian market, or the US market. And you can merge those systems together, multiple currencies, etc. Obviously, something we cannot do in PineScript. So that's why I've been using this software to develop my stock market systems. Now, portfolio level means that we can trade a portfolio of symbols in our backtest. So for example, I have a system that trades 20 different stocks at a time, or up to 20. It doesn't always have 20 positions, but it can trade up to 20 maximum positions. So on a very, very busy day, all 20 positions will be filled. And I'll have 20 open stocks in my portfolio. We can backtest that using RealTest. Another thing we can't do in PineScript. Now, RealTest is a terrible charting software. I'll just say that up front. You wouldn't use RealTest to analyze markets with drawing tools. That is something that is very much TradingView's strength. If you're analyzing price action, you'd want to use TradingView. PineScript is unparalleled when it comes to analyzing price action in a visual manner for charting. When it comes to backtesting multiple systems across multiple stocks, it is very lacking in that system. We can't do that. So using both of these together, these two tools, has made me a very, very, holistic trader. I use TradingView to analyze markets. I use it for my handful of discretionary or semi-discretionary. I'm a rules-based trader, but I do have systems that depend on my interpretation of price action. I use TradingView for those sorts of systems. With RealTest, I have pure mechanical systems. The systems that I trade in RealTest are very black and white. They're very green light, red light. Either I have a trade or I do not have a trade. But the system itself has basically no discretion in it. Obviously, there's discretion in developing the system itself, in choosing what conditions the system uses and what techniques the system uses. That requires discretion to decide what to do or how to build your system. But once the system is built, RealTest spits out my orders every day or every week or every month, whatever time frame I'm trading, and I just press the buttons. It's that simple. Now, building the system is the hard part, obviously. Backtesting it properly, making a robust system that can stand the test of time. But once you have a system that fits that criteria, RealTest is very powerful. And so in the videos to come, I'll share what I've learned about RealTest, how I use it in my personal trading process. But for today's video, we've got to start somewhere. Let's start with installing RealTest and getting the software running on your computer, because it's not as simple as TradingView. TradingView, you just go to tradingview.com. So before we get started, let me just quickly explain exactly how RealTest works technically. So it's a standalone software. It's an application. It's a Windows-only application. So if you're going to use this on a Mac or Linux or any other operating system, you will need a virtual machine to do that. I'm not going to show you guys how to do that in this video. But for those of you with Windows computers, this will run no problems on, unless you're maybe using Windows 95. It should work on your computer. One other thing I should mention up front that I'm not sure I have in the past videos I've made and newsletters I've sent out is that RealTest is a daily chart only backtesting software. So if you're an intraday trader or you're trying to develop intraday trading systems, especially if you're a currency trader, so you're trading intraday currencies, Forex markets, for example, you probably want to stick to TradingView for that, just because they have such a massive amount of intraday, lower time frame data in their platform, basically for free. It's included in your subscription. But when it comes to RealTest, this software is designed to be traded end of day. Now that doesn't mean that it doesn't take many trades. I've developed systems that take hundreds of trades, if not thousands of trades a year, simply because there are so many stocks out there. So even though it's trading end of day, for example, my system that trades 20 positions per day has a sample size of 30-something thousand trades over a 20 or 30 year period. So for those of you who are thinking that trading end of day means less opportunities, that's simply not true because of how many markets we have to trade. So with all that out of the way, let's get into how to install this software. So I'll leave links in the pinned comment below and in the video description to RealTest's website, but it is mhptrading.com. Once you're here, you need to go to the free trial and purchase link. If you've never bought RealTest before, then you do have access to this 30-day free trial, which I obviously recommend you use. You get full access to the software and there's no restrictions, so you can play around with it, see if you like it or not, see if it's something that you want to commit to. Otherwise, it's $389 US currently for a new license price. That's a one-time payment and you have access to lifetime use of the current version, plus all releases and updates for the next 12 months. And you can also install RealTest on 2 computers at once. So I have RealTest on my main computer. I've uninstalled it for today's video so that I can reinstall it with you guys and show you the steps. But I also have it installed on my dedicated machine so that when I'm traveling or I'm just not home for whatever reason, I can jump into my remote computer, my remote dedicated machine, and I can do my trading from there. Norgate data, which we'll get to later, also has a similar feature where you can have it installed on multiple computers, but there is a limit. So you can't share your license with your mates, your family. Once your 12 months is up, if you do need access to the latest updates, maybe Marston, the creator of RealTest, fixes a bug that you need fixed for your trading, then you might need to purchase this license extension, which is $159 USD, and it adds a year license to your date so that you can get updates for another year. Now, if you click these links, that will take you to the purchase page. But if you've never installed RealTest before, you need to click this one here, download RealTest installer. So I'll do that right now. There we go, that is done. So now if I open up my downloads folder, here is the RealTest installer. Let's double click that. So here we go, make sure to read the license agreement unless you like to live dangerously like me and you never read these and you just accept them. There's no reason why you can't install this to the default drive if that's what you want to do. For me personally, I like to install this onto my second hard drive. Doesn't really matter what type of drive you install it to, as far as I know. A solid state drive is probably going to be a little bit quicker, but it's really the speed of your backtest is probably going to depend more on your CPU, as far as I know. Having more RAM and a better CPU is probably going to help speed this software up more so than where you install it to. So I've already got my folder here from when I uninstalled RealTest before recording. I guess it didn't delete the folder, so I'm just going to click RealTest there and it's going to install into RealTest/RealTest. So click OK, click Next. Folder already exists, that's fine. Yours won't say that if this is the first time installing. Click Install and we're done. Very quick. I don't want to read the release notes because I read them recently on the latest update. I just want to run RealTest. So let's click Finish. Now you won't get this message. If you haven't used your free trial period, you won't get this message. Now I've obviously used mine, so I get this error. And now I need to enter in my license information. For those of you who can start your free trial, you'll get 30 days access to the software without needing to put in a license. For those of you who have purchased the license, this is where you enter your information. So I'm going to activate my license for the rest of today's video. All right, so when you install the software and open it for the first time, activate your trial, this is the interface you'll be met with. It's a little bit overwhelming at first. We've got a lot of stuff just crammed in at the top. So you can see this is a functional software. This isn't made to look pretty like TradingView is. This is pure functional backtesting software, and that's its strength. That's what's great about it. We'll learn all of these interface settings over time in the videos to come. For today, you don't need to know any of this really. We'll get to running our very first script in a moment. Let me close these my systems I have open here. And let's open up the examples folder. So I'm going to scroll through these and look for a system that I recognize. So let's start with the Ray Dalio's All Weather example system. So this is a system that trades ETFs. It buys SPY, bonds, gold, and commodities. And these are the percentages of the portfolio allocated to each ETF. The reason I chose this example script is one, because it's very simple. There's only a handful of lines of code here. It's obviously very different to Python script. It's going to take some time to learn this. We'll get into that in future videos. But for now, the important part to pay attention to is this section here, the import section. This is where you import your historical data. So there are a bunch of options. If I go back to the examples folder and scroll down to import, here are a bunch of example scripts that show you the methods for importing different data sources. So you can import directly from an Excel spreadsheet, which is interesting given that TradingView can export its intraday price action. I wonder, I haven't tried this, I'm just speculating, but I wonder if it's possible to import TradingView's intraday data into RealTest to run backtests on intraday timeframes by tricking it into thinking that each bar is a daily bar, for example. I don't know, that's getting a bit outside the scope of today's video, but who knows. The point is there are a bunch of different options for importing. The one I use the most, the one that most professional traders use, and the data source that is recommended by RealTest, by the developer of RealTest himself, is Norgate data. We'll get to that in the next half of today's video, how to install Norgate. It does cost money, and that's why I want to show you guys this script first, because this script imports from Yahoo, which is free. So when you're first trying out RealTest, especially during your free trial period, you might want to just play around with Yahoo. It's free data, doesn't cost a cent, and all of the syntax is identical. So you can still learn RealTest's software and its syntax without having to pay for data. And then you can pay for the data later down the track when you feel comfortable and ready to move on and get more advanced with your scripts. Now, the reason why you need to pay for data with RealTest is that when we're backtesting stock market systems, free data isn't going to cut it. When it comes to ETFs, you might get away with free data. I haven't played around with many ETF systems yet, so I'm not sure if that's true, but the reason why you need paid data with stocks is because you need a data source that accounts for several things that are unique to stocks, such as their listing status. Are they delisted? Are they part of an index? So index constituents. And then you also need to know, was the stock a member of a market index in the past but is no longer? So historical index constituents. We need data that adjusts for dividends, splits. It gets quite complicated, and these are things that do not get managed by a free data source like Yahoo. Yahoo will provide data sources for currently listed stocks. So you can simulate your backtest based on the current members of the S&P 500, for example. The problem is those members weren't always the members of the S&P 500. And we need to account for that in our backtest. When we're backtesting on a portfolio-based system, we need to account for markets that have come into the index, fallen out of the index, markets that used to exist but have now gone bankrupt, markets that we would have traded 10, 20, 30 years ago if we were trading our system, but no longer exist on these free data sources. TradingView has the exact same problem. TradingView does not provide data for delisted stocks. So if a stock goes out of business, if a company goes bankrupt and gets delisted from the stock market, TradingView does not provide data for that market anymore, because why would it? It's not a backtesting software as such, it's a charting software with backtesting sort of tacked on. That's why we need dedicated software like this for things like developing portfolio-based stock market systems. But anyway, for those of you who are just playing around with RealTest, getting your feet wet, stick to Yahoo for now. There's no reason not to. So here in data source, we're telling RealTest to import from Yahoo these symbols. So these are ETFs. We specify a start date, an end date. We can just use the latest keyword to import from this start date all the way up until the latest. You could also change this to earliest. The problem with doing this is, as this comment says, DBC was not listed as an ETF until this date. So if you're trading multiple ETFs, for example, you need your start date to be the first date of whenever the last ETF was listed. If you were trading the constituents of the S&P 500, for example, you might be able to set this just to earliest. And then your data source will include the first possible date and the last possible date in your historical data, but I'll leave that as it is for now. Finally, you have a save as. This is your data file. So this makes importing very quick. The first time you run this, it will save all of the price data to a file. And then when you run your test, it will import all of the data from that file, and things run a lot quicker than if you had to import the data every time you ran your test. So to import this data from Yahoo for free, we can simply leave this as it is and come up to this button here and click import. And now the software is connecting to Yahoo. Now it's importing the historical data from the 5 symbols we have listed here. Now this is much, much slower than using a paid data source. Norgate data would have had this done a long time ago, but this import's been running for a couple of minutes now, which is a long time to import 5 symbols. But anyway, that's what happens when you use free trading resources. There we go. It is finally done. So now in my settings, I'm referencing the same file we just imported and saved. So now when I run backtest, this information comes into play. So now we are starting from the earliest date included in our data source. So by default, this is going to be this date here because that's when we set our import date to start from. So our backtesting date is this one. It's going to be the earliest included in our data set and the latest included in our data set, and our bar size is monthly. So this system is going to adjust its position sizing at the end of each month. Now I can click test. We're done. Now that was really, really quick. Let's do that again. Test. It's almost instant. Very cool. So this system, this Ray Dalio system, has a 6% rate of return. Not fantastic, but better than the interest rate you get on a bank balance. But the max drawdown, you're almost beating the benchmark, which I believe is around 7%. Okay, so I was a bit off. It's about 10%. Holding SPY for the past 30 years produced about a 10% annual compounded return. However, it also endured about a 50-something% drawdown during the 2008 financial crisis. So, this is not a bad system. Yeah, you're cutting your return almost in half, but you're cutting your drawdown over half. So this is the kind of thing billionaires put some of their money into, to mostly probably to protect it from inflation more so than grow their wealth. But anyway, this simple system, profitable, very easy, using free data source. If you're following along, then you've imported your first data set, made your first data file, run your first backtest through the RealTest system. We'll go into more detail in future videos. For now, let's just go over the summary report. So if I click this and bring this over, this gives us a report of the system, how many trades it took, its win rate, its average win, average loss, a whole bunch of statistical information, even a year by year and month by month breakdown of its P&L as a percentage of the account balance, your max drawdown. So this system has very low max drawdown. Here's your equity curve, drawdown stats. You even have some Monte Carlo information down here, which simulates potential outcomes for this system if randomness is introduced, so that the black line is our actual system performance. The colored lines are theoretical potential performances if things were slightly different in historical data. So ideally, you want a system that ends up profitable in all of its Monte Carlo simulations. So anyway, these are all things that we'll break down in future videos. For now, that concludes the RealTest version of this installation guide. Let's jump over to Norgate now, and I'll show you how to import paid data, including historical constituents and all of that fun stuff. All right, so back on my web browser, here is Norgate Data's website. Again, this will be linked below somewhere in the comments or description. Now, Norgate Data does cost money. So in order to create an account, we need to come over to the order form. So click on this link here. So you can pay for 6-month or 12-month subscriptions. So if you're not sure if you want to commit to this yet, maybe stick to a 6-month. But the 12-month is a little bit cheaper, I believe. So most of you will be creating a new account. So let's click this button here. So now we have to confirm our access method. So Norgate Data works in association with supported third-party applications and platforms. For us today, we just need to click on RealTest. That's this option here. You also have Amy Broker, and you can select multiple options here if you want to. So if you know what any of these other system import systems are, feel free to click them. There's no reason not to. But for today's video, I'm going to be clicking RealTest because that's the only platform of this list that I use currently. I've used Amy Broker in the past. That's a great software as well. But I prefer RealTest. I like its syntax. I find its syntax a bit more intuitive to learn. And the fact that it can backtest multiple systems simultaneously is obviously a big advantage. And that's why I'm doing this series, obviously. I'm a fan of RealTest. As we come down, you need to put in an email address. So this needs to be a real email address because your login credentials will be sent to this email once you pay for the data. So make sure to put in a real email address. You need to consent to their privacy policy. You don't need to receive emails about Norgate data developments if you don't want to. So you need to click yes on this if you want to use Norgate, but you can opt out of the optional emails here. Next up, you need to select your payment currency. I select AUD because I'm Aussie, but you should select the one that you're going to pay in because you'll pay less fees. I'm going to select 12 months. I don't have a coupon code. Now, this is the important part. This is where we select the data that we need. So you click on which one you want to extend. They do have Forex data and futures data, which is something I haven't explored yet, but I will in future videos. Currently, I only trade the US market and the Aussie market. So if we click on US stocks data, here is the list. Let me zoom out my browser slightly. So the one that you will need eventually is Platinum. It's not cheap. It is $630 US a year. And this is a recurring payment. So you need to pay this every year to get your backtesting data. Now, the reason we need Platinum is because Platinum is the only option other than Diamond, which includes delisted securities and historical index constituents. We need both of these features in our data in order to simulate our backtests accurately. You also get data all the way back to 1990, which is obviously a big advantage in terms of sample size and market conditions to test over. A lot has happened since the 1990s. You don't need Diamond. Diamond does include the same features, delisted securities, so companies that have gone bankrupt or just simply withdrew from the market or were merged into other companies or whatever. We also have historical index constituents. Both of these are suitable for backtesting. The main difference with Diamond, as far as I know, is that you get data all the way back to 1950, which is even more market conditions, more sample size. So if you have the money, there's no reason not to go Diamond, but Platinum's a great option as well. Now, you need one of these, Platinum or Diamond, in the US stock data section in order to get accurate backtesting results. Once you have built a system, if you are no longer in the development process, you can get away with the Silver option because you get current end of day updates and current major exchange listed securities. So Silver is perfect for live trading. So once your system is built and you've backtested it and you're happy with it and you're not tweaking it anymore, you can probably get away with Silver, which is half the price, less than half the price of Platinum. And this is perfect for executing trades. But in the backtesting process, we need at least Platinum. So you want to click subscribe. That will add it to your cart. We don't need OTC stocks. I don't trade OTC securities, but you can add that on if you want to. Now with Aussie stocks, things are slightly different. But again, we need at least the Platinum option. We need historical index constituents and delisted securities. So I'm going to add that as well. I don't need derivatives. So already I'm looking at $1,600 a year for my data. But, in the past 2 months since this year started, I'm up about $35,000 trading my systems. So it's just the cost of doing business as a trader. And unfortunately, there's no way around it. And Norgate data are worth every cent because they do a fantastic job of curating their data, keeping it up to date, making sure it's accurate. So that's why it's the recommended option for RealTest. Norgate data do a fantastic job of what they do, but it's not cheap. So keep that in mind if you're going to go down this route. You need to have money to make money in the stock market. It's not like crypto and Forex where you can start with $100. You'll probably lose it, but you can start with $100. You can't do that with stocks. Definitely not. Then we have a similar deal with Canadian stocks data. You will need Platinum if you're Canadian. Futures data, I've never used. You only have one option there. And same with Forex data. I'll probably explore Forex data in future videos, but for now, we'll stick to US markets and Aussie markets. Here, you need to fill out your billing details, agree to the terms and conditions, and then proceed to payment. And once you pay for your subscription, you will get an email with your login details, and then you can come over to the Downloads tab, and you can download the software that keeps your data updated on your PC so that RealTest can import it and run tests on that price data. So let's do that next. Click on Norgate Data Program Installer. All right, that's downloaded. Come to my download folder, double click on the NDU installer. Now this is interesting. I've never had this pop up before, but I do know that this software is legitimate. I got it from a legitimate source, so a little bit concerning that this pops up. I've never seen this happen before, but the Norgate Data Updater is completely legitimate. This publisher is legit, so I'm going to click run anyway. Hopefully they fix that by the time you download this installer. So now again, just like RealTest, you can leave all of these settings as the default. You need to accept the license agreement. You can leave this as the default path if you want to. I'm going to change mine to my RealTest application folder in my RealTest folder, just so I can keep everything together. But you can leave this as the default path if you want to. RealTest will automatically find where you've installed Norgate data, or at least it should. So it doesn't matter where you install it. Now we also need to select our database folder. Now for some reason, not sure why, it has some requirements, some important requirements. So the database folder needs to be located along a separate path to the application folder. It cannot be located under program files. This has probably got to do with read-write permissions. Some of these folders don't allow you to read and write if they're in use and things like that. The database folder cannot contain any other files, so it needs to be installed into its own unique folder. So for this particular file path, I'm going to leave it as the default. I'm just going to leave it on my C drive because it can't go in the installation folder for the software, so let's just leave it where it is. Click next. Now I do want to update automatically. That means every time I open the software, it will automatically update my databases. That's fine. Click next. It requires some Microsoft packages. That's fine. Click install. We'll install everything for you. Shouldn't take very long. And there we go. We are done. So now I can click run Norgate Data Updater. Okay, there's a major update to install, so I'll let it do its thing. You'll notice that mine automatically logged into my account. That's probably because my information was saved on my PC somewhere. I did uninstall this software before doing this video, but it's kept my subscriber information. I'll show you how to log into your account in a moment. But for now, these are the databases that I'm going to import. So these will be based on what you selected with your Norgate subscription. I'm going to leave all of these ticked and just click OK. Now it's downloading and extracting all of my data and updating everything to the latest historical price data for each market. That will take some time depending on your internet connection. It could take a little while. So it's a good time to go make a coffee, let it do its thing, and when you get back, it should be done. But for those of you who are using this for the first time, you will need to log in to your account. So if you come to settings and click login details, this is where you input your username and your password. Mine are already inputted and I can't change them for some reason, but you will need to input this from your email. So make sure to write down what Norgate data send you. It's very old school, this software. It doesn't, I don't think it even lets you change your password. You're just given a randomly generated number as a password, or at least I was. And I just had to save this in a text file somewhere. Anyway, once you've logged in, let it update, let it do its thing. And I'll show you how to import data into RealTest when it's done. All right, now that that's done, let's open back up RealTest. And now let's open up a different example script. Let's open up Klenau's Stocks on the Move. This is a momentum rotational system developed by Andreas Klenau in his great book, Stocks on the Move. I highly recommend reading that book if you're a systematic trader and you haven't read it already. It's fantastic. It's a great manual on really good practices for momentum trading systems in particular and systematic trading in general. But anyway, this is what the import section looks like for Norgate. If you're using Norgate instead of Yahoo, you need to specify Norgate. As you see here, this requires the Platinum subscription. That's because we're using the current and past constituents of the S&P 500. I already explained what that means. We're also including SPY. That's for the regime filter. So those of you who've followed my channel for a while will know that I'm a big fan of regime filters. In this particular system, the S&P 500 ETF, the SPY ETF, needs to be above its 200-day moving average in order for the system to rotate into new stocks. I won't go over the code to this system in today's video. This is all explained in Andreas Clenow's Stocks on the Move book. So again, read that if you haven't already. It's fantastic. So now we're importing the S&P 500 current and past historical constituents into the spx.rtd file. We're importing that into our backtest under the settings section here. We're importing from 1995 until the latest available data, and we're backtesting from 1999 until 2015. That might be when the book was published. I'm not sure why that date's set to that. Let's change this to latest. Hit save and now hit import. Now I might need to restart RealTest because it's not recognizing that I'm upgraded to the Platinum subscription. So I'm going to close RealTest. Open up RealTest again and hit import. There we go. Now it's working fine. So I'll bring this up a little bit so you can see what's happening. We're importing 1200 symbols from the S&P 500 current and past constituents into this file, this data file. That's done. And we're good to go. Now, if I had multiple scripts referencing the S&P 500, I can reference this same file. And whenever I run an import, that will update the data for all of these systems, if I'm using the exact same data file for this particular market. Anyway, now that we've imported that data set, I can hit test and we'll run a back test on this system. There we go. As you can see, the system's not bad. It beats the RealTest version of Ray Dalio's all-weather system. I don't know how accurate that script is to Ray Dalio's official actual system, but I assume it's pretty close, if not spot on. We beat that system with Andreas Clenow's system. Hope you found this interesting. In the next video, we'll write our first script. We'll import something. We'll do a little back test. I don't know what we'll do yet, but I've got some ideas. A bunch of my friends recently had kids. I've got 4 new babies that my friends have had, and I've pledged some money to each of them to invest in the market until they turn 18, and then they can access that money when they turn 18. So I'm working on some long-term ETF systems that I can use to invest that money in for them over the next 18 years. Maybe we'll look at one of them in the next video. I might start playing around with some ETF rotational systems, something simple, even something as simple as just buying and holding SPY, but using some filters to avoid those nasty drawdowns that come along every couple of decades. What could also be fun is converting some of the TradingView strategies I've made into RealTest, which we'll look at in future videos as well. But anyway, that will do it for today's video. I hope you found this interesting. I hope you guys are excited to check out RealTest. I know it's very different to PineScript. I know that a lot of you guys probably aren't interested in this, and that's okay. I'll still be doing TradingView and PineScript videos, but I do really want to do a short series on RealTest because it's something I've been using a lot in my own trading. I'm loving it. It's producing fantastic results for me, and I want to share my experience and anything that I found success with. I want to share that with you guys because I enjoy sharing the knowledge and wisdom and experience that I'm accumulating, that I learn from traders much better than me. I like to pass it on to my audience, so I hope you guys are interested in that and excited about that. If not, stay subscribed because there'll be more PineScript videos to come soon. Take care, guys and girls. Good luck with your trading. I love you all, and I'll speak with you soon. Goodbye.